Canadian urban reform can be described in waves. The second wave was modernist and production-focused. The third wave was postmodern and consumption-focused. Second wave experts in technology had brought great benefits, but Hiroshima, Auschwitz, pollution weakened confidence. During the second wave, one half of False Creek was filled with a political consensus to fill the rest. But the third wave was place and time sensitive. False Creek transformed from production to consumption with a network of seawalks and adaptive reuse of Granville Island. Postmodernism claimed there is no meta-narrative, no privileged story. All voices have their own truth. The public hearing morphed from a forum for expert advice to community truths. Jane Jacobs was a voice of the non-expert. She opposed the highway, high-rise city. Vancouver's freeway plan died in the 1960s, and the third wave gained power in a 1972 election campaign opposed to high-rises and density. In the decade before 1973, 200 residential towers were built. After, only 20. Environmentalism was defined experientially. What felt green was. Suburbs became the ideal form. Large areas of the city were downzoned. Inner suburbs were protected. For the first time, Vancouver's population dropped. Growing suburbs made an agricultural land reserve necessary. Wilderness became sprawl. Greenhouse gas emissions rose. Power shifted from proposing change to vetoing change. Development became less sensitive to market signals. Restricted supply increased house prices. Heritage programs saved buildings, but neighborhood character meant valuing the older immigrant culture over the new. The second wave perspective was urban. The third wave was suburban. The second wave view corridors were street ends for urban people looking out. Third wave view corridors were for suburban people looking through. A skyline policy reinforced the suburban perspective over urban needs. For the second wave, form followed function. In the third, function followed form. When residential towers were reintroduced downtown, they arrived complete with suburban housing forms like porches, stairs, and even lawns. While cultural revolutions around the world knocked over old monuments, in Vancouver, a planned 65-story building representing capitalism and the legal system was knocked down, taking up 3 city blocks. The third wave brought benefits, but also sprawl, high house prices, and greenhouse gases. Will we see a fourth wave of urban reform?